must say it was a quite rough qualifier for us. We had quite a lot of trouble with the teams up until the last match, obviously, which we won really convincingly. But we made it through, we stepped up, and yeah, we're happy about it. Obviously, people got frustrated at some points. There were fights in the team after disappointing results, but we managed to keep together, and I think it's time for it to finally pay off. Lately, we've been playing a lot. We had a boot camp. We worked hard together as a team. We brought in a new coach who I feel helped a lot in our mental game. During the game, he calms us down. He gives us a few tells about what the opponent might be doing, so we are more relaxed and know what we can expect. And we already had the skills. We have a lot of amazing players. It's just we need to bring it out at the right moment. Nico is for sure the superstar. I mean, he's the most consistent in always bringing his performance. Dennis obviously had an awesome performance now at the qualifier, but Nico always brings it. It feels like he never has a bad game, and for that, he's the superstar. He's one of the best players in the world. The main goal right now to reach top 8 there, and not only because of the legend status, but we want to play in front of the crowd, in front of all the fans. I mean, I'm Dutch myself, but I've played so long in Mouse. I feel a little bit German. I feel connected with the fans that support me. So it would be a great honor and amazing experience to finally reach the stage there.
You fucking...
mousesports then. We just met mousesports. Duncan, god damn it, Duncan is still joining me alongside Janko. But the North American corner of the desk has shifted. We've swapped a blue for a Moses. How you doing, Jason? You've done your casting, now you're
obviously a pleasure to be in here.
Why are you talking to my voice that's so unprofessional?
Yeah, it's very impressive. We've all been working on our various impressions. Let's try and get back on track though. mousesports versus Virtus.Pro is our final game of the opening stages of Group C. Now let's just let's reflect on mousesports first, because we have they're fresh in our mind. We have just seen the video. Do we agree with the sentiments? They've got a lot of firepower. That we've heard that from Red Eye. We've heard that from the interview over with Chris J and from Nico.
Okay.
Here's
the thing. It's like, I'll give the real metaphor. It's like they've got a lot of guns, but they don't have a lot of bullets in them, and often those guns don't fire the bullets. So the problem is Nico. He's like a cannon. Nex is like you just make him an AK.
Yeah. We have 3 minutes.
Fires a little bit.
I don't know if you want to maybe be succinct sometimes.
No, basically they only have one good player.
Okay, there we go. Thank you.
Just
Thank you very much.
boils it down to its bare essence.
There we go. Got to it. We did see some crazy performances though. I mean, of the offline qualifiers, they got a 16-2 versus G2. Dennis went off. Are these? I mean, do they not have their moments, Janko?
They definitely do. I mean, the Dennis performance was a one-off, I feel, because his role in the team is just not, not supposed to be dominant. He's the one doing some of the dirty work for the team, being the first guy in. But they definitely have a lot of potential, and we see it from time to time in games like those against G2. But more often than not, they find themselves making these silly mistakes. They have problems with their decision-making in crucial rounds, and that's what costs them the game against some of the Tier 1 teams. We saw it in Katowice as well.
And it keeps cropping up, Jason. E-League over in Malmö, that these guys bicker and shout and argue in the game. I remember the comms faded up in E-League. You can hear them genuinely just telling him, shut up, shut up, shut up.
Yeah, I think that's just the stress of especially Nico having so much on his plate, being the carry, being the star player, being the in-game leader as well, and then he's got people talking over in freeze time when he's trying to call a tactic. I mean, all that is just the recipe for disaster, and you can understand. Freeze time is like sacred 15 seconds to in-game leaders. Every in-game leader in the world will freak out if there's some kind of inappropriate comms going on during the freeze time. Essentially anyone but them, and it's like, this is my time to tell you what I want to do. I'm trying to create this game plan, and if you're interrupting me, if you're talking over me, then I don't pass on the information to the players that they need to have.
And on the other side of, I was going to say, the pitch, we do have Virtus.Pro. We do need to address them, of course, in some description. The Polish powerhouse that have been tough to gauge. Jason, we've heard what these guys had to say in the pre-show, so I'll actually throw this back to you for VP. What kind of gauges of form do we have from the Polish side as of late?
They have some inconsistency, but the thing is, they're still a dangerous team. And I mean, even just talking to Duncan, in the back, we just had this conversation. It's at times, even them with Envious as well, you kind of, I think we unfairly judge them sometimes. Not all of us analysts, but because we've seen their form when they're at their peak, and we see where they're at now, we unfairly think they're much worse than they actually are, just because we've seen how far they've fallen. We've seen how high they can go, and sometimes we kind of misrepresent just kind of where they're at, against the competition, just because we feel they should be better. They still have all this talent. VP is just a team as well, though, that, this, with all the experience that they have, with all the tournaments they've played in, this team's always going to show up at LAN. This team's always going to show up at the important tournaments as well.
And now it's time for the vetoes before we do dive into this one. Duncan, this is your realm, this is your domain.
Yeah.
What have you got for me?
So you would expect Virtus.Pro would want to be the first team because it's such a wide map pool. You know mousesports is really just a Dust 2 and Cash team. You want to ban those maps out. But as we see here, Virtus.Pro's actually chosen to go second. Mousesports ban out Overpass. They don't want to play it. It's a classic VP map. The standard Cash ban from the guys from... actually, well, no, that's the interesting thing. They ban out Cash early at this point in time. Normally, they ban out Dust 2 on Virtus.Pro, but I expect they'll use their other ban for that later. But they ban out Cash here. Cobblestone ban from the guys from Mouse. Usually, they like to play Cobblestone. They don't mind it that much, but you don't play Cobblestone against the guys from Virtus.Pro. They've been on quite a heater recently, won the last 4. Dust 2 ban from Virtus.Pro is standard, actually, especially against the mousesports, where that is the best map they have. And now we're going to go to the last ban here. It's going to be Nuke, so we're going to end up with either Mirage or Train as the final map. Now, here's the thing. Those are 2 of the best maps for the Virtus.Pro guys. They're obviously, it's a signature map, modern day, to be on Train. The guys from mousesports have won their last 3 offline games on Train. But VP gets to pick the side. They are a signature Train team. They're like Na'Vi. They can probably choose to go CT here, knowing that that T side is going to be overwhelming.
And we could talk about it a lot longer. I do know the game is very close to being ready, so I just want to kind of lean towards predictions now. Unfortunately, let's. We've got 30 seconds then to quickly talk through your predictions, Janko, knowing it's Train. Have mousesports played with fire and lost here?
I mean, I don't think so. They have their map pool is limited, so Train and Mirage are both the maps they play, and they have had good results on Train. But this is Virtus.Pro's playground pretty much, and they did choose to start on the CT side. So I think that, you know, mousesports coming off the T side, if they come in hot, if their players are on point early on, they might cause troubles for VP. So I'm going with mousesports here.
I'm afraid it's just a team name from you, Moses.
Virtus.Pro.
Okay, the polls and Duncan.
Yeah, I'm taking Virtus.Pro.
All right, believing in Virtus.Pro. That definitely does sound like Train has convinced our analysts that this is going to be going the way of the Polish side. Of course, ex-major champions. They're not on Polish soil, though. Let's see how it does go down. It's Dan and James Bardolph to bring you the action.
Thanks, Alex. So, Train with these 2 teams. I think Train Virtus.Pro recently lost to Envy, but maybe they won't be expecting a stiff opposition in mousesports, who the desk says have one good player.
Well, that's the thing with mousesports. You never quite know, because Nico can just go off. He can do whatever he wants. He can AWP. He can be an amazing entry fragger with the AK-47 and really open up the map for your team. And again, if Chris J is playing well, then that's also going to be a pretty big boon to your team. But can't talk too much about that as we are live into the pistol round now. And looks like we've got actually 2 Molotovs on the T side. So that does tell me that they want to finish on the B bomb side. Typically, teams are going to pick those up if they are going for that B plant.
Look at this layout from the CTs. If we can bring up the minimap quickly, they've got 3.5 people in the B bomb site. Barley can rotate quickly should he be required. So it seems maybe Virtus.Pro have a hard read on what to expect from mousesports on this pistol. And as this continues with really no action from the T side, they may be convinced that it's going to be a B play. You can see Dennis with the bomb in Popdog. Oh no, he's above Popdog, in fact. I'm looking at the mini-map there. So wondered if he was going to go for a crazy play. Sometimes people, for example, will take the bomb towards Ivy and show the bomb. Doesn't happen very often, that kind of play. Show the bomb one place, take it to another place. So 3 people towards Ivy here for mousesports. They're throwing smokes into the A site, but they're still holding passive positions towards Ivy, for example. Chris J and Spiddy being very passive indeed. Slowly creeping in. Nico Dennis made it onto the site, actually, with no response here from Virtus.Pro.
So we have the first Molotov thrown. It's onto the Train that have guaranteed the plant, but Bialy will take down Dennis as he tries to escape after planting that bomb. And we have frags going back and forth at the moment as Virtus.Pro try to work some space onto the site. And there it is, the smoke defused with the kit. This is a very high pressure play. That is going to force the T's to act. Oh, Nico just barely finds the frag and a bird as well. He's not done just yet as Snacks will get eliminated by Chris J. And that was incredibly fast, almost too fast to follow. And it was a great play. Neo almost had that defuse. It was, I mean, it must be like 100 milliseconds or something that he was away from getting the round win there.
Yeah, I thought that was a done deal, but obviously Nico was alive, Dan.
There you go.
Therefore, it was never a done deal. mousesports with an important pistol round. Well, there we go. That could have easily gone the way of Virtus.Pro. It is not easy. They had Operation Meat Shield in play as well. There was somebody standing right in front of the diffuser, but to no avail. Nico is just too much. So we have Pasha coming out with the scout now on this 4 spy coming out from Virtus.Pro. We have Kevlar and pistols being bought Not much Kevlar though. Taz has full armor. Pasha's got the Kevlar. Other than that, they're all naked. But they somehow spent most of their money. So we've got another, well, a bunch of players are going over towards Ivy once again. Pasha closing the distance with the scout there, coming in close range, and this might be fun. He's going to get the headshot as well. Can he get more than one? Bit of a tag coming in over to Chris J, so he's done some damage. But there are only 2 Virtus.Pro players left.
And he is in there with Deagle now, looking for that stray bullet to connect. But he won't be able to find any kills just yet, as we have the safe play from mousesports. They will start to find themselves all the way towards that. Well, they'll start grouping up, essentially. Grouping up, making sure that they can eliminate any possibilities for Virtus.Pro to pick them off one by one without trades. I mean, if you have the man advantage, that's one of the basic things you want to be looking out for. And mousesports will find their way towards that B-bomb site. And it's, again, a more easy choice to go for because there's less positions to worry about. You've got those 3 main channels. It's pretty easy to control. Not too many hiding spots next to the bomb site itself. We can see Taz might be the only man here that can do anything, but he's got limited bullets with the CZ, and he is not able to accomplish all that much, leaving Neo with the scout.
Neo can do a lot here. There are 3 players who can one-shot with this scout. This could be huge, but it might not be huge at all. He's got 1 HP now, so that's going to be a quick exit for Neo. So, nope.
And he can drop both of those guns at the start of the next round and buy up a PT-50 or something as well. So it's actually pretty important that he saves, because a scout and a deagle, you can get a lot of damage with those into that next round when Virtus.Pro are going to be thinking about going for a full save.
Yep, so they know where Neo is now. But again, how much do mousesports want to lose in this situation? How much will they be concerned about their economy, knowing that Nex and Speedy can be served up to the god that is Neo? So he will save that scout and the deagle. Let's see what they choose to do with it in the coming round. Made a bit of money for himself as well. Got 42.50 in the bank now. So indeed, perhaps, sorry, that's next to 42.50. Let's see. Neo's got 26.50, so he could buy a P250 if he wanted to, or just hold on to one of those 2 weapons. So Snacks has been thrown, the deagle, and I think Neo will continue with the scout. Looks like he's going over to upper B. So we'll see what more damage, if any, Virtus.Pro can do before they come into their buy round.
Yeah, it's a lot to be done. There is a lot to be done with a deagle and a scout on a map like this. I'd say that this is one of the easier maps to actually do stuff like that. Then, again, I think one of the worst maps on the CT side, if you're just stuck to like a scout and a pistol, is a map like Dust 2, because the space is very open and it's very easy for the Ts to find favorable engagements and to avoid you entirely. It's not the case here on Train though. See, Neo might be able to spot ahead if he does get a bit more aggression out of Dennis, but Dennis is staying well out of the way. This is very passive here. mousesports, one of the big criticisms for them in the past has always been that anti-eco play. They are up against Nico right now, and they're not taking any risks. They're essentially making sure that if there is to be an aggressive play early into the round by Virtus.Pro with their lack of weaponry, that they can easily deal with that. But now it's getting a bit late. They've got to make a play, and the move is happening.
Yeah, looking at how passive most of the VP players are playing as well, and with 45 seconds left on the clock, this could get difficult for mousesports as they approach the bomb site here. They need to get some picks before they do. And look at this. Look where the bomb is at the moment. This makes me worry, Dan. We've seen this more than once. And they're going to go for a smoke execute against an eco, Dan, which makes me worry even more. 29 seconds left as they're going to move into the site. And look at the line of smokes they've put down. They have to go through the smokes to plant the bomb now. So things could get super weird. Bomb's gone down already. 20 seconds remaining now. And they're going to have to gamble through the smoke. We've got Swipes coming in with the blades. Taz takes the bomb down again. Now it's Nex's turn to try and get it down. Spiddy and Nico are going to get some frags. And there are 6 seconds. That bomb, it has to go down this time. Otherwise, there's nothing else to be done. And it will just about do it, Dan. Why is it always so close with mousesports?
Yeah, obviously, they did the first part correctly, and so the first part is, okay, we don't want to lose out against any fast aggressions in the round. Okay, so you burn some time doing that. Then the problem is, as we saw there, is that they're like, oh god, let's throw down the smokes because we don't know what to do. And in doing so, you allow the pistols to get close ranges because you're basically playing against your own advantages. And the reason why they felt pressure to do that is because they didn't leave themselves enough time to explore other options. So yeah, that's as I said previously, it has always been a criticism of theirs, and we'll have to see how that plays out in the future because now it's a buy versus a buy. Got the AWP on Chris J and Virtus.Pro limited grenades. So this is going to be very tough for the CT side of Virtus.Pro.
Indeed, the important thing is that they still have a few smokes that they've mostly just deployed to slow down the mousesports push here. I do wonder if Snax is going to get aggressive, and indeed he just had a pop flash into A main, had a quick look, saw nobody was there. So he's got some information for his team for the time being, and that's the kind of play you want to see when a team is down on utility. So that's nice by Virtus.Pro. They could opt to leave a man in there, although they're choosing to play on the side itself on top of the train. Again, Nico just lurking, harassing over towards B, and he's going to draw Neo from his position on A. 1 minute mark. 3 plays over towards Ivy for mousesports. They don't have possession of main at the moment. Again, same as the anti-eco, Nex is just outside it for the time being. When will they start to take their map control?
Yeah, again, it's always going to be a bit of an issue. mousesports do like to play very slow, and Virtus.Pro are going to know this, and they can't get too aggressive on a map like this on the CT side. It's difficult. Either way, the push is beginning to happen as we start to see players from mousesports poking in their heads, and Spitty is going to get himself a kill. That's a beautiful entry through to Ali, and now Snax essentially is alone. He's getting pinched on towards in that forward position of his, and that's not going to work out. Not good enough for more than a single kill, and that's going to be up to Taz and Neo, but Spitty with a perfect position will easily take down them both. And it's a 4-0 start here for mousesports, and another eco for Virtus.Pro.
Yep, so Virtus.Pro on around $3,000. On the plus side for them, they'll be on maximum loss bonus in the following round, so the full buy will be coming out as long as they don't spend too much on this occasion. Taz picking up a deagle. Bits and bobs being collected by the Virtus.Pro side, but for the most part, mousesports looking all good in the hood. Now, are they going to have a super passive approach on this anti-eco as we saw in the previous one? The layout at the very least is going to be different. They've got 3 people moving through the halls, as you can see there. Chris J holding a very long angle towards Ivy, and Spitty will be the one to take care of main. Now, what will mousesports do over towards B? Are they going to bide their time? Go for a high-low split, perhaps? There's a lot they can do or not do, as it may be. Not wanting to give their position away with sound. And it seems they may creep out, trying to use the range that's afforded to them by the high ground here, spotting the play towards connector, and now they will move into the site.
And we already get a fast frag from Taz, but it looks like that is what he'll be limited to, just 1. And there's no remaining players for Virtus.Pro with Deagles, so those long ranges, mousesports are fairly safe, especially with Chris J watching the channels. But the smokes will make life a little bit more difficult for the Ts as the CTs are allowed to get a bit closer behind the cover, but it's still not enough. Nico in a forward, in a forward position will be able to combine with Nico for the frags here. They've really stopped the effort. Snax is going to be getting closer, but without a kit and with so much time gone, there's no chance to win the round. He's going to try to get the damage in, but again, denied by Chris J this time. And Pasha, long range to the P250, getting some damage in, and I mean, mousesports realize it's not worth it. He's only carrying a P250. You don't have to risk dying to him. He's waiting for a gun to be blown across the floor there by the C4. It looks like he can't find anything.
I would like to see multiple AWPs here from Virtus.Pro, because for me, the way mousesports are playing so slowly, I think they could just sit there and hold angles against them, to be honest. So, I mean, it's an option that Snax could pick up an AWP. Neo could pick up an AWP, for example, either or. It seems they might be discussing it, and there it is. Neo's going to pick up the second AWP. He may be playing it towards B, we'll have to see, but I think this is a great response to how mousesports are playing at the moment, leaving it so slow. Obviously, if the smoke executes come in, then they have a decision to make. They can choose to charge forward and hold at advanced positions, or choose a different path. But indeed, 2 AWPs on the map. Neo holding towards connector, from connector towards main. He can rotate towards B as well, so he can be the rotation man and hold a high ground for Taz. And the second AWP will be Pasha holding towards Ivy.
Yeah, and we should see some action towards Ali here, and we'll have to highlight Taz a little bit later. This has usually been one of Taz's best maps in that B position, but Pasha might get himself some love with this AWP. There's the shot, but for Chris J, and not Pasha, he's a bit too slow, and Chris J's anticipation there will pay off, as the early frag has been won by mousesports. But that's not enough. You have to understand as a team how to play that early round advantage once you've won it. So the first phase, has gone well. But what will be in store for us for that second phase for mousesports?
Let's not forget, because mousesports have Kassad behind them now. I do wonder if he's doing any calling for the team. I know he is the coach. Obviously, right now, Nico's in a passive position, just holding angles towards B, which would allow him to concentrate more on what his team are doing. But maybe we'll find out a bit later what Kassad's role is in all this. So we've had a rotation away from the Ivy position. Dennis is still harassing over there. And you can see Neo's being drawn away from the B bomb site now because of that pick on Pasha. And now Taz is playing very, very passively, so it might be a retake or maybe even an abandoned chip here from the CTs. Taz moving in now as the clock continues to tick down. No nades flying in towards A. But he's on his own. There's nobody rotating here for the CTs.
And the push will come in. There is a lurker towards Ali. We'll have to see first if Taz can hold here and do enough damage to the push, because there's only 12 seconds to plant. Nothing can go wrong. And we have the fast trade frag, so the bomb can, in fact, be planted. But that flank is starting to be a problem now. Dennis is going to be coming in soon. So if the T's can hold the initial ground here towards the bomb, then that should be the round won by them. Neo not able to miss these shots at this point. Snax as well has his back completely open as Dennis arrives. But Chris J will be the one to get the first kill there. And Dennis finally, with that lurk, able to finish off the last player. Neo is dead. 5-0, and it is a good start here for mousesports. And it would be quite fun to get clarification on the on what Kassad is doing. Is he actually doing a lot of the calling? Is maybe just some mid-round stuff? We'll have to see later on.
So Virtus.Pro down to around $4,000, and they're going to go for the Force Buy now. They will be limited on grenades and weaponry as well. We've got double mag 7s coming out for Virtus.Pro, so it seems they are tired of losing rounds, and maybe this is a play, if they expect a slow round from mousesports, a passive round, maybe they're going to try and get close and surprise them. But mousesports going for fast peaks towards the A site. That's going to pay off by Ali going down straight away. There are more players here, 3 players on the A site now, and Taz might be coming in for a bit of a rotation as well. mousesports changing the pace here, but is it going to pay off for them?
Yeah, things starting to get desperate here. Virtus.Pro down to 3 men. Neo's up in the action, though. Gets a quick kill, and that smoke is really helping him out massively, as he's a lot of cover to play with. And he's still holding this forward position, but not for any longer, as mousesports are able to come in with all the frags that they need. A very scrappy A-take there, the first that we've seen, but it will go the way of mousesports. And that is very painful at this point for Virtus.Pro. They're already down 7 rounds. And I really feel like we are starting to see a little bit of a desperation start to set in, because the Poles, they know they need to start taking some rounds. They need at least 4 or 5 rounds going in against mousesports in the second half.
Yeah, and I really feel like a timeout might be in order for Virtus.Pro here. You have to start to wonder if they're tilted. They're spending a bit of money in this one. Snax has picked up a Nova, which you don't see every day. Can be used towards the Pop Dog area, for example, and indeed he is headed into that position. But, you know, the way Virtus.Pro have lost some of these rounds has been very narrow, so the score doesn't really tell the entire story necessarily. But either way, you know, there are problems here for Virtus.Pro. Maybe a timeout would just kill the momentum for mousesports, even if they don't necessarily need it themselves, because 0-7 is really bad on your CT half. I mean, they can still come back into this, and again, mousesports are gone back to a similar situation where they are playing very passively, but this time they have even less map control than before, because they don't have anybody towards B. You can see Neo and Taz are in very advanced positions, so they can go for a bit of a faster rotation towards A, should it be required. And now Nico is starting to look over towards the A position. And even if he takes down Neo or Taz, Snax could come up the ladder and cause them more problems. That is a smart Molotov for that very reason.
And the play has to come in, and it will. So let's see if mousesports will have any initial problems here as they enter. And there you go, the timing works out perfectly for Neo. First frag, he'll win an AK-47 as well with his Kevlar. And there's a lot of pressure on mousesports now to make this push work. And it's not really going so well. 2 players left in the face of the 4 that still stand for the Polish side as they hold these forward positions. And Spitty, though, able to trade back with 2 quick kills. And Taz is going to chime in there with that deagle. Surgical precision found onto Chris J, leaving Spitty in for the ace if he wants to save his team in this round, and he can very well do it. Able to get the first frag. As the smoke goes down, he knows exactly what's going on. Big advantage here for Spitty, but he must plant the bomb, and he can do so safely. Punching in the numbers as Taz needs to get it done with the deagle. Spitty, he has a lot of time and cover to play this slowly. He's got some grenades there as well. Looking for that last frag, but it's going to be Taz with that AK-47, able to swap out for an AWP as well, and that will finally be a round for Virtus.Pro.
Now, there are problems here for both teams. The problem is in the past for mousesports in the sense that, again, it's another situation where if things go wrong for them, they don't have any time to give themselves enough time to make the correct decision. They have to just kind of roll with the punches there, and it hasn't worked out. And this could have happened in multiple of the previous rounds. The problem for Virtus.Pro is now they've won a desperate one round. They're going to buy down and have next to no money left. And if they lose this round, then we may see a 12-3 half here for mousesports. We have lots of money in the bank.
It's definitely a scary prospect. Virtus.Pro needs to get the momentum going. And to be fair, you know, as you said, a lot of rounds earlier were won by a fine line for mousesports, and Virtus.Pro just haven't had many chances to really show their CT side on train, which historically has been pretty powerful. So they've always been a pretty decent train team. But here we go, fast round now for mousesports, switching up the pace a little bit, getting a Dennis in the 4th position, but got quick incendiary to delay them ever so slightly. Maybe that'll make the difference. The Snacks is going to get 2 frags, and this push is being completely crushed. Just 2 men left now, and nothing done. The bomb has been lost. It all seems so hopeless.
The question is the key in the ignition? Well, maybe not just yet here for Virtus.Pro. Spiddy has 2 more players to find, and even if he can't win the round for his team, the damage he is doing is colossal. He still has a minute 10 on the clock as well, and as that clock continues to tick, Virtus.Pro are going to have to start wondering about their backs, but they will survive the test. 2 players surviving, they'll take the round, but again, mousesports can come back at them with another buy. So there are still more financial problems here for Virtus.Pro, but again, is the key in the ignition here? Is the plow activated? They can still win this half. They can still go 8-7 in this half. That's possible.
Yeah, but as so much damage was done, the danger really is that they can't afford to lose this one. If they want to have that strong comeback, they can't afford to possibly lose this one. Obviously, there's always a chance, no matter what kind of buy you have. But if they want a good chance, this has to be the round where they shut it down. And mousesports, they will know that as well, so it's going to be interesting to see what kind of strategy they choose. We'll get a bit of pressure here from Nico in towards the secret area, the upper part of the B-bomb site. Just to keep some presence there, so Virtus.Pro are always guessing it. And you do have to do stuff like that, because you want to keep Taz honest. Taz always can manage to find really good timings to go for a flank from B on the CT side. So you want to make him doubt himself in that sense by just showing that presence. But now the play will come in towards A for mousesports.
Yeah, well, the smokes have, but they haven't committed. They haven't moved into the site just yet. There are 3 of them around the pop dog area. Are they willing to push? That's the question. Making doubly sure with lots of flashbangs here. Starting to move in now. Bialy's on the bomb train, though, and he'll get himself 1 frag. Bomb being planted with a minute on the clock. That's unheard of here from mousesports. Maybe that's going to cost them their lives. 2 players remaining here for the mousesports team. They need to get damage in to this CT side. Just Spiddy remaining now, and he can't get a single frag. That is a perfect round for Virtus.Pro. Not a single man goes down. Another round on the board here. And now they have some good momentum going, and the money is running out for the T side.
Yeah, we get a pause straight away, which is good to see. And I mean, that strategy there, you've got this situation where it's almost to me like a little bit of a lack of respect going in against Virtus.Pro, because they're saying, all right, we can just go for that blind plant. I mean, pretty much every team these days knows how to stop that. Like, you have to have some extra grenades. On the previous train map, we saw, you know, the Molotovs going into position to stop the angles from which you can shoot through the smoke as the CTs to kill the guy planting the bomb. You know, like little details like that is what you have to do at this level. And we saw mousesports basically waste a player by just going for that and just kind of gambling that maybe, even though 5 players were alive for Virtus.Pro, that they would be, you know, spamming that spot. So that to me, you know, shows a little bit of a lack of either drilling or thoughts, and a real in for Virtus.Pro.
So you can see, well, you'll see on your screen at the beginning of the round when we go back into the game, the pick 'em predictions. Mousesports 29% at the moment. And that's why I don't do pick 'em, Dan. I don't want any bronze trophies. I think I have a bronze Bloodhound badge, bronze or silver, and that's it. Everything else must be gold, Dan. So I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm too scared. Especially in this particular tournament, because I mean, there are so many people who could just come out champions, especially because of that group of death.
Yeah.
So it looks like this could be, sorry, Dan, it looks like this could be a technical pause, I'm assuming. I do wonder, actually, I mean, I know ESL introduced a rule where if it says a technical pause, then the teams can't talk to each other.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's just the team who called the technical pause, or if that's both teams, or what.
Well, the headphones are off, so perhaps it is a technical one. But I actually felt like it could be a really good timing for mousesports to to talk about stuff, because mousesports, we start. I mean, it's just in the nature of the way that they lost that last round. It's kind of one of those rounds where it looks a little bit desperate. It looks like they need to come together to be on the same page a little bit, because the execution on that play wasn't the best, let's say. And Virtus.Pro, as you mentioned, are very capable of coming back in and even taking this half, because mousesports haven't nailed down that 8 rounds scoreline just yet. So. And the other thing as well for mousesports is that they are a team where they do need to, in many spots, to have that good start, because some of the weaknesses of their team, which is going to be, situations where their economy is poor, they don't have to deal with that, and they can get this situation where all they have to do is just win some anti-ecos and against 2 buy rounds, and they already have a good chunk of rounds, and then they can go onto that CT side where they can do a lot better a lot of the time.
So you can see some of the work Spiddy has been doing for his team. He is top fragging along with Chris J. 12 kills apiece here for the mousesports side. And one interesting thing, actually, you have to wonder if Pash's head is in the game at the moment. The 10 rounds have passed. He's got 1 kill on the board at the moment, and he is responsible for holding down the IV position. Now, I don't know off the top of my head how many buy rounds Virtus.Pro have had, considering they lost 7 rounds in a row. But he needs to pull up his socks and get into this game. Seems we are good to go. I think we have Hoss Biceps on behind the mousesports team, actually. He's been studying in America, but he's come back for this event, which is pretty cool. I think that's his face in the corner there. So game should be unpaused shortly. We see, we see, but you can't see just yet. Virtus.Pro have 2 ops on the map at present and 3 rifles. The money on the mousesports side ranges between $2,500 to $4,000, mostly around a $2,500 mark. So we may not see much from them in this particular round. Now, we know they have these smoke executes into the A-bomb site. I would like to see at least that to try and get the bomb down. Maybe. I mean, the CTs can still push through it, but they can spend their time walking around the map with Glocks, or try and get themselves a bit of a money bonus and do some damage to the CTs.
Well, they've currently lost 3 rounds already, so they're going to be on a loss bonus of $2,900 for the 4th loss in a row. So,
nice.
I mean, they're in a spot where they could just buy up like 5 deeks and just try to get some frags. They are buying next round no matter what. So get damage in, make life complicated for Virtus.Pro. And because, I mean, you mentioned Pasha, he is an emotional player as well. He's supposed to be a star-like, carry-like player. And when he's in the flow, he can do that. He can just go absolutely mental. His skill can hit some crazy heights. And he needs to get the ball rolling. He needs to start getting those frags to do that. He's one of those guys that will power up the more confidence that he has, as opposed to delivering, much more steady, rock-like performances. And the double op setup, as you mentioned previously, is a good go-to against mousesports. So now Virtus.Pro have an economy somewhat secured. I feel like they have a really good chance here. It is just that danger of this round. If mousesports can get a lot, like maybe kill 3 or 4 players, that would be basically the worst case, I think, for Virtus.Pro.
Nico's hair's pretty swag. I just want to say that. But it seems he's still having an issue with his computer. Got one of those. Is that a hand warmer, or is that like just a pocket for headphones?
I was looking away and I just caught him with his hands. I thought he was crocheting or something. It snacks into crochet. Okay, no, it's definitely not crochet.
No, it's a headphone.
It's a little case
holder thing.
Little case thing.
But normally you see players fiddling around with hand warmers as well. Always good to come in with warm hands. There are exercises. I think there's a like a JPEG somewhere which has a number of exercises you can do with your hands to try and warm them up faster, should you need to, if you're playing a game, or a tournament or something. So I'm sure somebody can find that and post it somewhere. If you tweet me, I'll retweet it. So Nico's just waiting. Maybe we can get an update as to exactly what is going on in our ears. It's been nice in Cologne so far. Okay, it's a sound issue here for mousesports, so they're going to try and fix that ASAP. But yeah, it's been nice in Cologne so far. We went on a massive walk. I'm
still waiting for my currywurst, James. I'm yet to have currywurst, and yes. I'm angry.
We shall seek one out following the conclusion of today's matches, Dan.
Good.
That's Mr. Hoss Biceps himself. He was, I think he was in that picture of the various DDKs.
Yeah, he cut off his long hair.
He did, yeah. He used to have a mop head, but now he's...
Is that a technical term?
Now he's retired from trying to look like a 90s wrestler, and he's shaved his head for summer, which is always nice.
Neo's a fascinating player, by the way.
He's not wearing his glasses. Has he had like that LASIK stuff, maybe?
I don't know.
I'm too scared to do that. They lift up your eyelids. I'm not having anyone lift up my eyelids. Stay away. I mean, your whatever.
Yeah,
the front of your eye.
Yeah, like the lens, right?
Yeah, that.
Iris something.
No, it's just gross.
Let's just stop talking about that.
Yeah, it's kind of freaky.
So I was going to move on to like talking a little bit about Neo, actually, because Neo's always been a fascinating player because obviously in the 1.6 era, he's got a strong argument. Many people would call him like the best player overall from the 1.6 era, which obviously spanned a lot, for a very long time. And in this game, he's just the adaptable player that basically is trying to allow his teammates to be good and trying to be the missing block if there is ever like a player that's limited in some roles or whatever it is. He's going to try to fit in there to make sure that everything works, even if it's a support role, if it's an AWP role, whatever it is. He can basically do everything, but he's kind of given up that sort of that star status because he's going to let other people, he's going to facilitate other people to be star players. But you see it out of him every now and again. You can see when he's in clutch situations and he's got an AWP or something, sometimes you can see ridiculous performances because he's still got the skill, he's still got the goods to deliver, but he's also one of the smartest players. He's actually one of those players, like for example, if you want to like learn to be a great player, I feel like Neo's a very good one to watch for the decision making that he takes, because some players take more decision making based off their skill, and some take it more based off of just smart play. What is like the most consistent play here? How can I most outsmart my opponent? And that's kind of more what I would see from Neo, as opposed to if you take like a Simple, who's just going to do ridiculous stuff, but because of his insane raw talent and his instinct, it works. And that's very hard to replicate as someone trying to learn the game watching demos. You can't watch Simple demos and be like, I'll do that. That doesn't really work.
Yeah, I would not recommend that. Same for like a JW style player, bouncing around onto short on Dust 2 and just shooting people in the chest and just jumping away to go into some awesome flowers while the rest of your team clean up the remaining players.
Actually, one of the funny things about JW as well that you see from him is that he's got a very good grasp of how to gain edges from the movement system in the game, with regards to bunny hopping and various other things. You actually don't see that from too many players because the consistency of bunny hopping is pretty hard to be consistently good at that.
Especially if you use the spacebar. So we're going to see some Nico highlights while we wait for Nico's PC. Oh, we have doubled the admins around the chair, Dan. We've gone from 1 to 2. Hoss Broceps.
He looks worried.
Who? Hoss does?
Yeah. Does he always look worried? I haven't seen him in a while.
That's just his face.
It's a generally concerned look. I'm concerned.
We're going to look at a short feature on Nico. Roll the tape.
What about next?
I don't like my interviews because, first of all, I think that my English is not good enough. And that's why I'm not feeling comfortable in doing it. So I don't know. That's it. I see myself like not as a star, but it's not like that when I joined mousesports became good. They were also good without me. Maybe for some my fans, I am. I think I can identify myself playing in representing German team, mousesports, and it feels great because I saw many good comments from German players, everyone's supporting us, supporting me, and thank you a lot on that, guys. We managed to beat Luminosity, and I think it was Team Liquid right after the major in Columbus, and I think that was our like explosion to explode and try to keep it up. Sometimes I feel like that I have to do too much for the win. I'm trying to like tear down everything in my head and just focus on what I can do, what's the best in that moment to do, and it seems like I'm doing like pretty good in that sometimes. But obviously I don't need to do it. I have mates, we're playing together. I think that was one of my problems when I think that I have to do it alone, and it's wrong.
Well, he hasn't done it alone so far in this game. Obviously, Chris J and Spiddy have been putting in work. And I think Chris J is an interesting point of discussion as well. I did see a thread on Reddit, which means it must be true, obviously, that on his stream, he's kind of alluding to Oscar potentially replacing him in the team. And if that is an option, if there's any truth to that, you have to wonder where his head is in the game. Does that give him renewed focus? All right, I need to, make sure I give them a reason to keep me here. Or does that kind of cloud your judgment and put you on tilt?
Well, and maybe he just wants something new as well, because this mousesports lineup has been trying to make it for quite some time. And actually, right before this lineup was a thing with Chris J and Nico and Nex. I mean, everyone's like, oh, if you just got all those players together, they can just finally play. You've got so much skill. They finally have all the pieces that have been missing. And of course, previously we had God B, who was there as well, and to lead all these players and try to get the most out of them. And it just never quite clicked. It just never seemed to quite click. And they've had issues with consistency. They've had issues with having an in-game leader. I mean, Nico, the star player, has been doing a lot of the in-game leading previously, and we could see that was some of the weakness for the team. It was the structure. It was the understanding how to coordinate as a team in some of the mid-round situations and the anti-ecos. These were some of the biggest problems for them. So perhaps, Chris J wants a bit of a fresh start. And Oscar, he's a hungry player. He's actually been around for a very long time, but he actually kind of feels like an up-and-comer because we haven't seen him in a really, really solid top 8 team at major events just yet.
mousesports, one of the 2 teams who had the longest game at a previous major. And now they might have the longest pause then. We'll see how long it takes. We were told that the game should be unpaused in 1 or 2 minutes. But the problem is, you never know. If they say the problem's going to be fixed in 1 or 2 minutes, then for me, it's almost never going to be 1 or 2 minutes. Because if you knew how to fix a problem within that time scale, you could probably do it in 20 seconds. So Dan, we may be here for a while yet. Although he's putting his headset back on, so fingers crossed that he might be ready for it for the rest of the game. Do you think this pause benefits either side?
To some extent, I think it actually does benefit mousesports because obviously mousesports, they're 7-3 up at the moment. Virtus.Pro just started winning rounds. Virtus.Pro just started getting momentum. And it's only just now that mousesports started to look like they were a little bit lost on how to attack some of these situations. So it would have given mousesports even maybe a potential. Obviously, they can't really communicate stuff about the team, but at least breaks up the momentum a bit for Virtus.Pro. So it's going to be actually quite frustrating for Virtus.Pro, especially with players like Pasha. As you mentioned, he's got 1 frag at the moment. He's an emotional player, and for players like him, when you just remove that focus, you've got to get back into the game. That can be a bit, that's just very frustrating.
For those of you at home, send us tweets on how you are watching these matches today. Send us some pictures of your setup. If you have respectable hardware with keyboards and such, then feel free to include those. And I'll do my best to retweet the best ones. What about the headset's off? Oh no! What
about non-respectable hardware? What falls under that category?
Well, the unpause has just come in actually. And it's gone back on again. Actually, no, unrespectable hardware may even be more interesting than, actually. That's a good point. That's a very good point. So send us all your hardware.
Okay, well.
Just don't do it then. I just bought blank keycaps for my 60% keyboard. I'm looking forward to using them. I have a distinction in word processing, Dan. I'm a man of many talents. So that means I can type with my eyes closed.
You know that everyone can do that.
Not everyone can do that.
Well, everyone who's used a keyboard for more than a few months can do that.
That's complete nonsense. For a few months.
It's pretty easy.
Who have used a keyboard for a few months?
Sure.
There's no way. No.
If you pay attention.
Pay attention with your eyes closed.
Get the training in. Well, touch typing is not that hard. I don't have a certificate, James.
What you suggested
I'm going to try to stomp on your achievement as much as I possibly can.
It's that my achievement's not the point. I don't care about my achievement. The point is, you said somebody who's used a keyboard for a few months can type with their eyes closed. The average person who's used a keyboard for a few months can definitely not type with their eyes closed. That's nonsense. That is a farcical statement, Dan. And you should be held accountable for your farcical statement. That is all I'm saying. I bought a ticket for the finals. When all the fans come in, I have a ticket, Dan, so I can sit among them. I have not identified where my area is I need to redeem my ticket. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I have it on my phone, but I need to print it. I need to steal a printer here.
So which match
print my tickets?
Which match would you most want to be in the audience for then?
Well, I have no idea because it's
well, exactly. If
the end of the week, so who knows who will be facing
I'm just saying, like, regardless of what is going to happen regarding everything, like, what are the two teams you think would be like the most hype in the?
Well, that's a difficult
arena?
question because then you're asking me what would I rather watch instead of cast.
Yeah, as a
or,
fan.
Or
well,
casting
if you're sitting out there, you're
I don't know. I don't know. Just
fan
two evenly matched teams who are good teams.
That's the caster response. You got to. I want the fan response.
That is a fan response because if they're evenly matched teams, then you should get a good game. If it's one very strong team and one like even an underdog, then they might just get wrecked. So I want two evenly matched teams so I can have as competitive a game as possible to maximize my enjoyment and fulfillment.
Well, even if we had all the casters play each other, I'd probably be pretty even.
I wouldn't sit in the crowd for that. I'd have to play.
All right then.
I'm the first one to bring their equipment. My equipment's already set up in the talent room.
Yeah, James has actually been playing matchmaking in the green room.
I have,
which is interesting.
And I lost because all my teammates were bad, and I was the only good player. That's why everyone loses, right? Because they're perfect, they don't make any mistakes, and everyone else is terrible. But I had one guy on Cash who went to the B bomb site in a 1v1, and he planted it at the front of the bomb site, and he just got instantly fragged by the other guy. Obviously, just like you have all this cover. No, why would I use that? Why would I use these lovely boxes?
I can't actually. Right. I can't even fathom why someone would do that.
I only solo queue matchmaking because that's just it's like self-flagellation. But enough about that. We're going to go to a break while this error is fixed. When we come back, hopefully there'll be more Counter-Strike. See you soon. Welcome back to Pause Simulator 2016. Should be unpaused shortly, hopefully. Nico is in the game and good to go, and there is just a little cobweb that needs to be cleared out before the game can be unpaused. We will keep you updated. Dan, say something to entertain these people while we stare into this camera right in front of us there.
Well, I mean, it's been a long pause, so you may have actually missed most of the action of the match because there has actually been quite a lot of action. We're already 10 rounds played, and it was going very well for mousesports. They managed to win their first pistol round, carried things forwards to 7 rounds. But now they're starting to have some problems. Virtus.Pro have won the last 3 rounds in a row, and it didn't look like it was going to stop. Except then we got the pause, so that kind of complicates things. It breaks up the momentum completely for Virtus.Pro, and that's always a terrible situation. Because they're just having a pause, and then was this been like 20 minutes?
It's been a while.
Feels like 15, 20.
I was going to say that the good thing is there's Okay, I was going to say the good thing is that mousesports are basically in an eco situation, but Chris J had bought a Galil when he had 2,500, but the round has been restored, so maybe he was messing around, and we're going to see an eco. We seem to be good to go now. We have the double ops continuing and the 3 rifles here for the CT side. 3 pistols here for mousesports. Well, sorry, 3 pistols here. They've got 5 pistols, Dan. One of which is a P250. The rest appear to be Glocks. And the game has indeed been unpaused. So we have an eco round. What we said a while ago was, would like to see like a smoke execute coming out from mousesports. Just try and get the bomb down into a Virtus.Pro. I mean, it might be hard for them to have a read on the T economy based on the consecutive rounds that were won by mousesports. So they may not expect an eco here, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, again, mousesports, if they lose this round, they're on $2,900 in addition to what they have, so they're going to have a really healthy buy. And if they just get that pressure in now, they could actually stop Virtus.Pro before they get into a position where maybe they could win the half. So let's see how they decide to take the decision here. It's looking very much like they'll go for that B play, and it's down to Taz, the B man. But can he be the man to hold it here? And there is the first frag. It's going to be next trading, but things looking pretty good here. Neo able to get 2 frags, and that'll hold the front there for the CTs to spill out of connector to get on to that bomb site. But 1 frag and a bomb plant is nothing to scoff at, and yet more work can still be done here as the remainder of Virtus.Pro filed in. But it will not be the case. It is just going to be that 1 frag and the bomb plant.
Yep, they got what they wanted. Worst case scenario was the pass there. They got the bomb down. Virtus.Pro with another round on the board. And again, even though it was a long pause, that gives them a little bit of momentum at least to try and get back into the swing of things here as we move on with the rest of the match. The buy coming out again for mousesports. They've got an AWP onto Chris J and 4 rifles onto the remainder of the T side. Maximum nades as well for the most part. Just Chris J missing the 1 grenade, but that's not going to be a big deal. I'd rather see him with a scope than a grenade, so all good in the hood there. 2 orbs versus the 1 on the mousesports side. What will the play be for the Ts?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of options, and typically mousesports do like to play things slow. Their default involves, waiting for Chris J to make something happen with the orb for a very long time. They don't have many grenades here, and that could be problematic. I have to see. It does look like they might go quite aggressive. If you've got Chris J in this pop dog position, they're definitely thinking about it, but they do get smoked off. Potential for boosting them over the smoke, but they're just going to run in with the numbers. And Dennis will get the first entry frag now as Nex is going to charge down the train lines to find himself very, very close to the bomb train. Oh, surely he can make this happen. Yes, Neo will go down to the spray of Nex, leaving Snacks in a very dangerous position. He's not got direct support. He's got to hit the shot, and he will. And that's going to be Nico dead now, and the bomb still needs to be collected and planted with 2 members against the 3 of Virtus.Pro. This will be tough here for the German side.
Yeah, there's basically nowhere they can plant the bomb based on the positions of Virtus.Pro around the A bomb site. And Virtus.Pro are just waiting for that plant attempt to come in for the time being, it seems. Snacks repositioning now as his position is one that's known. Taz, it would be a gamble for him to go down the ladder, so left to buy this time. That's a great grenade coming in there, but Snacks will steal his own frag away with the nade with the orb instead on the high ground now, and he cannot be stopped in this particular round. 3 players surviving there for Virtus.Pro as they close the gap between themselves and mousesports.
Yeah, mousesports deciding in that round just to say, well, we're just going to run out into the yard and see what we can make happen. And previously, some rounds have worked out for them in that sense, but still, it's definitely, we need to see a bit more, well, some more diversity from them when it comes to some of the strategies. Liquid, for example, that we saw previously to this matchup, they had a lot of diversity to the ways that they were calling some of the rounds, and that really kept them in the driving seat. But right now, Virtus.Pro, it feels like they are more in the driving seat at this current point in time, and they're able to go to those 2 orbs, which is definitely a good look for them. They will have a fast play here for some presence into the B upper area, the secrets area. Perhaps a boost is in store here as Nico could be staying on the little barrier there, but no. Looks like, well, looks like this is quite obvious what they're going for us. That B play is definitely in store.
It's interesting that Neo is the 2nd player over towards the B bomb site, and again, as we mentioned in the previous train game, normally you have that guy holding the orb there to cover the high ground, but Neo doesn't have an orb, so he's playing close now with Taz as they have a weird kind of semi-crossfire here. Is it going to work out for them? Nico with the high ground in the corner of the smoke, going to take him down with Dennis, and that's going to be the B bomb site cleared out of CTs. We have them now. Snacks around the checkpoint there. Next knows where he is. There's 2 players there, just waiting for that smoke to disappear, but Biali's going to hold down the angle there for Snacks. So 3 versus 3. Retake possible here with 2 ults, but they need people to peek. Speaking of which, Spitty's going to win the duel there with Pasha.
And Snacks really needs to peek there for Spitty to make the frag for this to be possible. But Bialy's going to go straight in, takes Spitty down, doesn't even need any help. And now he'll be able to get himself quite close to the bomb. And one of these tees is going to be forced to peek. It's going to be Nico. He goes all the way, but Snacks with the trade. And now we have grenades going in as Snacks tries to win this last 1 versus 1. And he's going to nail it. Snacks, does he have time here? Looks like he has just enough time with the defuse kit in hand. And Virtus.Pro will take another round, but this time it was a lot closer.
I'm not sure if Snacks knew where Dennis was, but his flashbang hit Dennis. And obviously, when you get hit by a grenade before it goes off, it makes a sound cue, a collision sound cue. And I do wonder if that gave it away there. But either way, good retake there by Virtus.Pro. 2 rounds left, and they had a lot of money built up from these consecutive rounds, so they can survive the damage done in that round. Lots of money lost there, but the rebuy is real. The double ops are real, and there's still bags of money in for the last round. So good days ahead for Virtus.Pro after a horrible start here on Train.
Yeah, now it's going to be down to this initial alley pressure. That's where mousesports are going to look for that opening. Chris J as per usual. And mousesports are quite telegraphed in that sense. It's quite predictable, rather, I should say, how they do tend to play maps like this. And Pash is waiting for it, but will he be able to connect? This is a very, very slim angle to be on. And it looks like he's going to get flashed away there, just at the timing that the peak came in.
You see the T, he's standing on the box on Ivy there, so if he does get shot first, Chris J in this position, he's more likely to get shot in the leg than he is in the torso. Something you see Guardian do as well on Short Dust 2 when he's facing the goose position. Very smart play by Orpers when they have a bit of raised map to play with. So we have smoke splashes, denial of information coming in from mousesports over towards Ivy. Neo taking a gamble there, almost hitting the shot, getting a bit of leg damage into Spitty there, but nothing significant done just yet. Mouth map being taken now by the T's here. Dennis will get traded by Snacks, but this is really difficult for the Virtus.Pro side. Pot shots being taken by Pasha. Very unlucky not to hit the spot there, and Chris J will take him down.
Finally looking like mousesports can make this happen. They got 30 seconds left, but Snacks is still, well, not anymore. He's dead. Very, very dead, in fact, leaving things on to Taz on the bomb train. Standing in the open, will get shot in the back. And finally, mousesports will pick up a round. It's been ages since they had anything going for them. In fact, of course, they just lost 6 in a row, so it's going to be down to mousesports to try to close out this last one, get that nice and tidy 9-6 first half. And I would say, you know, in most cases, you're expecting mousesports to feel more comfortable and to deliver better results on the CT side because of the fact that when they have the control of the pace of the game, when they're making the calls, generally they just struggle more. Either way, it's double ops to contend with against Virtus.Pro, who had a lot of money in the bank to use for this last round. And very fast nades in here towards the A bomb site for mousesports, but they will be going straight towards B, it would seem.
Yeah, but they need to keep moving fast. They've got Virtus.Pro very out of position. Barley's halfway through the Ivy, and indeed they are charging onto the side here. Taz has got a lot to do. One down, doesn't get the second 1v1 in his favor. Next will take him down. Chris J maybe legging Snacks there, and he will finish him off. So 3 versus 3. After plant situation, very strong here for the T side. They're almost at the CT side of the B bomb site. They could have planted a bomb on the side of the train, but didn't opt to do that. And now Nex has found himself alone in a weird position, and Pasha will take him down as well. So Virtus.Pro, after a very difficult start where they lost 7 rounds in a row, they come back to a 7-6 half here.
Yeah, that's a beautiful amount of mental constitution displayed by the Polish team there, because, I mean, it was very obvious that it was a very potentially frustrating position to be in. You know, you've lost all those rounds, you're not really getting chances, but still they're able to play round for round, keep their heads in the game. And again, even as noted, Pasha only finishing this first half with 4 kills. That's a great result that, you know, overall Virtus.Pro are still able to play together. Everyone's doing their jobs to get 7 rounds, and they're a really scary T side. So mousesports, I mean, they have a game on their hands.
Right, so short break before the second half. We will see you back here shortly. Virtus.Pro 8-7 after a 7-0 lead by the German side. So momentum definitely in favour of Virtus.Pro at the moment, despite a monstrous start by mousesports. Who's going to take this stand?
Yeah, Virtus.Pro are definitely a team that have a lot of strength going into those T sides. So now that they have the option to dictate the pace, I feel like they're going to feel much more in their element against mousesports, who are going to be pushed onto the defensive side. But that said, mousesports are very strong on their CT sides typically. So considering how even the score is, I think this is going to be a really great finish to this first map on this second half.
We will shortly be into the second half here. So again, we had, when that long pause started, we had Pasha on 1 kill. He's got 4 on the CT side. So, but I mean, Virtus.Pro still managed to recover. Now he's on the T side, so he won't have to hold angles as he would on the CT side. Maybe he will have a better time of it, and he will need to against the mousesports side, who look well up for this one.
And we see the double Molotov buy again. And the previous train map, when we saw a team do that, they got the Molotovs. Well, they basically made a play into the A site. They used the Molotovs. They smoked off the bomb train and used the Molotovs to deny the position on top of the bomb train, as well as the connector area as well. So I wonder if Virtus.Pro will do that, or if they're going to go for the more typical play, where you are able to kill a lot of time with those Molotovs on the B bomb site plant. And that looks like the play that they're actually going to be going for now, as they start to file in towards the B side of the map.
Yeah, it seems we have the Polish Mandem here charging into the chicken shop down. They want all the chicken, but will they be able to plant the bomb first? Neo facing with going for the jewels here, but he's the one with the bomb. He needs to get this bomb down. And indeed, look how Virtus.Pro are charging towards the CT side of the B bomb site. That's really, really important. That's going to make life super hard here for mousesports. They're going to need nothing but headshots coming in. That's a very late smoke as well. Talk about being choked off these choke points. That is horrible. And they're going to have to gamble and jump their way out. Stacks with an off angle here, and he won't even be required. Taz and Pasha coming in with the frags here. 4 versus 3 at the moment.
But it can all change in a moment if these headshots start to string in now for mousesports, but it's not going to be the case. Just down to Chris J. These players are very tagged, and there is a nice kill onto Piali. Still more players though, and there you go. Pasha so low on HP, but the time is starting to run low for Chris J. He does have a kit. He's going to have to go for the smoke defuse. There's no time to shoot these players. He's going to be going for the hold right now. He has time to do it, and Chris J so close, but no dice in this scenario. It's going to be Taz with that finishing blow on the Glock, and the 8-8 scoreline, as the economy will favor Virtus.Pro going into this second half.
That would have been the most hero play from Chris J, but just couldn't take it down. So Virtus.Pro, they will enjoy the spoils of the cash monies in this half. Coming out of the UMPs, the SMGs, going to be mobile and aggressive. Double AKs coming out as well for Virtus.Pro, but they still managed to get a ton of Molotovs out. Well, grenades, I should say, rather. And that was a very nice pistol round indeed from them. And in the previous train match, we saw a side plant, not on the pistol, but on the full buy from one of the teams there, which is something we only really see Astralis do at the moment. I hope we get to see that from Virtus.Pro going forward, as when you're pushing through the B bomb site, then you can defend a bomb from almost anywhere.
And I like how Virtus.Pro take this decisively straight into the B bomb site. No messing around. And that's an important factor as well. When you play around like this, an anti-eco, keeping it simple, playing fast into bomb sites can be very beneficial, because you don't really get give the CTs a chance with those pistols to reposition or really work out what's going on. You just hit them hard and fast. You're going to have the numbers advantage, the weapons advantage, and you pick a site where it's where you have a lot of strength as well. And Virtus.Pro also keep the pace up. They keep the pace high with having these fast rounds. So let's see if mousesports can have a better result in this one, or if Virtus.Pro, again opts for a fast anti-eco, which again is completely the opposite of how mousesports play theirs.
Standard setup somewhat from mousesports. They've got they've got a 3-man push through Ivy here, but it's not going to be fruitful because there are no Ts there whatsoever. And speaking of which, Ts are charging into the A bomb site. If Snacks can get around that corner fast enough, he won't need to. They're going to smoke off the choke point instead. But if he pushes all the way to the back of A, then he may be sandwiched. And he's got a UMP, looking the right way to take Nico down. Again, he's just going to try and cause havoc in that direction. So where are the rest of the mousesports side? That is a question here for Virtus.Pro. Neo's going to push. There's a bit of a taser coming in there. A taser attempt not working out, though. I respect it because, well, that's a bit, we can talk about tasers in a bit. Chris J and Dennis to get taken down. Now it's just Chris J. So we'll see if he can pick something up. But tasers, I mean, in fairness, they are somewhat underutilized at the moment because you can get up to some stupid stuff with them. For example, if you're on Dust 2 and you're in that boost position underneath the bomb site, you can jumping tay someone from that position. You can do that.
Yeah, there's, yeah, when it came in, people were experimenting with it all the time, but then it kind of fell out of favor for a while. Either way, it's going to end up to be a 10-8 scoreline. Virtus.Pro able to convert those rounds, and again, they do it in a way where they keep the pace really high, and you can see mousesports went for an aggressive play on Ali. They didn't even get a chance to do anything because Virtus.Pro already asserting themselves on the map, and that's kind of, you know, that lends itself to that style of the plow that we, you know, hear so much about with Virtus.Pro, where they just run over their opponents, force their will, and the flick from Snacks is sublime. Glorious. Now it's going to be a 5 versus 4 immediately, and with 1 minute 40 seconds essentially upon that kill to make choices with that man advantage. This is a beautiful spot for Virtus.Pro to be in.
Yeah, and mousesports are going to have to take a gamble on how they approach the B bomb site here. You can see Spiddy's left in a very passive position on his own, whereas normally you'd have somebody deep. You can see how NBK plays B for Envy, for example, for an example of that. And then again, you can have a rotator. Nico's on the AWP here. He is around connector, so he can offer somewhat a bit of a rotation to cover that high ground, but Spiddy's almost at the back of the B bomb site here. So even if Virtus.Pro make it in, I mean, life might be difficult for mousesports should Virtus.Pro choose to go there. However, wherever they choose to go, now it's 2 per site, so there will be problems here for the CTs, but there's no smoke to cover the crosshair as mousesports did on their T side between these 2 trains. Neo shoulder picking, just trying to draw the CTs away as Pasha moves into the A site with the bomb as well, which means the CTs are going to go back to bombs down now.
Yeah, this has worked out quite well from a rotation perspective, but from a fragging perspective, you got Nex sitting on the bomb train here, causing a lot of problems. The nades are coming in from Virtus.Pro, but they've run out now. They've got no more utility to use, and Nico and Nex are still massive problems here. As Nico comes in with another one, the AWP has been great for him so far, and now it's just Neo. AWP and a Deagle. No time though, 15 seconds. What? Neo gets 2 with 1 shot there. The Deagle coming in, but still 10 seconds to go for Neo to plant this bomb. The time is a massive factor at this point. He can't fake. Spiddy knows that. He's going to push forwards now to try to crush Neo, and he's only got 14 points of health as Neo tries to find himself the perfect engagement. And that's not going to happen. Spiddy is going to catch Neo in the back of the head, but Neo gets 2 kills in the bomb plant out of what looked to be an impossible scenario.
Man, that's two heads in the vice stand. That was grotesque. And yet glorious at the same time. But the round goes to mousesports, and so does the AWP. Show me. That is absolutely disgusting. So Virtus.Pro still have money in the bank. That AWP pickup from mousesports will be a very juicy one. That will be one that they would not otherwise be able to afford here. So it may not be the most spectacular buy from mousesports despite winning the round. Indeed, we have double FAMAS coming out for Nex and Dennis. 5 AKs for Virtus.Pro. Will that mean a fast play here, knowing that there's an AWP as well in tow here for mousesports? Or will they wait, maybe expecting limited utility here for the mousesports side, and they'll try to exploit that with their time?
Yeah, speaking of time, that was the smart thing from Virtus.Pro last round. They got the initial frag advantage, but they waited for the CTs to waste their nades. And they didn't have many, and looks like the CTs want to get aggressive this time. Flash in for Dennis. That's going to work out wonderfully. Oh no, tries to go for the AK, but he will be punished for his sins. Now his Snacks can just stand there, holding it down. And once again, we have a man advantage here. mousesports went 2 for 1. Or, well, 1 for 2, sorry, in that situation. That's not how you want to do it as the CT side. This is a disaster for them.
Yeah, Greed's getting the better of Dennis there. Gluttony, Dan. He wanted every slice of the pie, but Mama came in. Mama said, no, Mama spanked that ass. And now it's a man advantage for Virtus.Pro. Round advantage, man advantage for them. But they still need to take control of one of these 2 sites. Pasha biding his time towards Ivy, waiting for the smoke to disappear. Chris J is somewhat isolated from his teammate Nex. He can't really support him there, and he's going to get taken down. No support, no answer here for the CTs. Loses the duel as well, gets his bell rung, then finished off by Ali, leaving Nico alone versus 4 tagged players, but with the AWP, he may just want to save.
Absolutely. Looks like it's definitely going to be the best choice. I mean, there's no way he's going to win this one with no kid as well. Now he's... Nico is capable of a lot of things. But this was another well-played round by Virtus.Pro, and again, you can see that, you know, mousesports, we had some misplays there. The greed, as mentioned, going for the AK, because he could easily just fall back off of the frag or try to just, you know, I mean, many players would do that, or, you know, just try to take a more forward position where he's not trying to overextend for a gun, but, you know, maybe get into that nook on the right. So a lot of options there, but he probably picked one of the worst ones. Either way, it's going to be that 11-9 now that stares mousesports in the face, because they know it's going to get worse. Their economy has been shot, so Virtus.Pro have the momentum well and truly into their T side, and how will mousesports recover?
Yeah, this is quite disastrous for mousesports. Win one round after losing 3, and then lose immediately, just get wiped out. At this point in the match, this is quite a precarious situation. That said, Virtus.Pro don't have, well, I guess they've deployed some nades. They have a lot of Molotovs. Well, they have some Molotovs. 3, in fact. They have a trio there of Molotovs. There's a nice crossfire here for the CTs. Oh, Pasha gets the nade out. That's a bit cheeky, but he manages to get away with it. Spraying down Chris J. But there's more CTs to come here. The crossfire is going to net them 2 frags, but now Spiddy's left alone. And this is an interesting situation for Virtus.Pro. The bomb is down, but they need to cover the dropped weapons as well and make sure that Spiddy can't get to one of those. He's going to be, his hand will be forced by that Molotov, and then Barley will finish him off. Nice play from Virtus.Pro to control that situation. 12-9.
Yeah, but that hard reset that mousesports just received means that they cannot buy just yet. They've got to save again. They can purchase a few pistols to keep the pressure up. But obviously, this is a very problematic spot for them, because Virtus.Pro, that allows them to get to 13 rounds already, then only a mere 3 away from winning. And so that means that when eventually the buy does come in for mousesports and they're up against that 13-9, they have to make it work then. That's got to be the rounds where they get the comeback. So it's all going to be on that one pretty much. And mousesports will try to get something done here, and they'll be receiving an A aggression from Virtus.Pro. But Virtus.Pro have been so coordinated and playing the trades really well in these anti-ecos.
Now Neo's gun needs to be protected. We saw the greed from mousesports trying to get that gun in main. They're going to want to pick up that AK as well. But Virtus.Pro has a cover of main to stop that from happening, and there we go. A wipeout on the A side. Spiddy left alone and soon dispatched off, put in a box and sent the HL-style express delivery out of the map entirely. 4-round lead now for Virtus.Pro. Full nades coming out once again. Double AWPs coming out from mousesports. They will need to make them work, especially in lieu of the lack of grenades on those 2 players. Not much room for error now here for mousesports. If they were to lose this round, then they wouldn't really, they might be in a situation where they would have to force buy, otherwise they'd be playing against match points. So,
and Virtus.Pro don't know what the setup will be for mousesports. They don't know that they have 2 AWPs, because that would inform Virtus.Pro's call. So Virtus.Pro, if they go for a really fast play, or if they go for a slow play with smokes, whatever it is, one's going to be better against a double AWP setup. The smokes usually, because you can get positioned more freely with those smokes. But well, next closer, and he's got a good position initially, but he's trying to back out there. Very well handled, very confident and calm there from Next. He's got support from Dennis now, and this is fantastic. mousesports with an easy cleanup. Virtus.Pro kind of falling apart there in that execution of the push.
The round they wanted, the round they needed, maybe the round they deserved. You at home can decide on that one. So the gap is closed just by the 1 round. There's still money on Virtus.Pro. I'm curious to see how much they'll have left in the hole once the full buy comes out here, because that's going to be key information, especially if Virtus.Pro can't win this round, but they can do some damage, and that can pay off in the following round. But there's kind of money here and there left for both teams, but importantly, Barley's got 7.5K in the bank, and that's going to be key going forward. So nothing but pressure coming the way of mousesports from Virtus.Pro. And those 2 plays for both sides heading towards Ivy.
Yeah, and then we have a really nice pop flash there into the CTs on Ali. But Christian's still going to be pushing the angle against Pasha. Orb versus Orb, and it will be Pasha. The biceps that reigns supreme in this instance now, as Dennis is there close. But do they realize they should probably have, their experience will tell them that it could be quite possible that Christian would have had support there. So they would be wary of Dennis in this position, and there it is. They throw in the Molotov. They realize now, as Dennis throws the smoke, that he's there, and Dennis is not safe until he gets out of this position, because they can spam, and they are still spamming through that smoke with the rifles. Dennis realizes he's in a very problematic position.
Pasha gets revenge on Chris J from the previous half, and there we go. Pasha's having a much better time in this half than he was on the previous. He's got about 13 frags now, and mousesports are getting wiped out 1 by 1. This is not something they can afford. to happen, quite literally, in every sense of the word. Nico and Nex remain. With Nico alive, even on 20 HP, is always going to be a problem. 44 seconds left. That bomb needs to rotate to one of these two sites, but neither is occupied by the T's at the moment. That said, Pasha's position, he's in CT spawn. That is a very important, he has a very important role to play, and Nico, that's ridiculous. He's still alive here. 26 seconds, and Nex is on the bomb site. If he can stay alive here, then Virtus.Pro will have time problems. But there's somebody creeping around that smoke, and it's Taz. And he may try and punish Nex for his tracers, and indeed that's what's going to happen here. Nico takes down Bali. In the meantime, the bomb's on the floor, and there are 12 seconds left, but Nico's on the wrong side of the bomb train to stop it from going down.
They don't know where he is, and that element of surprise could be what saves Nico here as he goes close, and he's going to spot the first frag. Taz is done. But can Neo save the day? Nico, he has no idea where Neo is, but his legs will give it away. No time to make the flick, though. Neo too quick, too savage. And that will be the round there for Virtus.Pro. And they are now completely reset our mousesports, but they do have a little bit of cash in the bank.
Yeah, they can actually get a better buy than expected here. Nico almost with the ace there. He's so dangerous. Even with 20 HP, 4K for him, but it was not enough. He needs 5 to save mousesports in that round. 2 rounds away now of Virtus.Pro from taking this. Double ops coming out for the T side, which will make things quite interesting. And with the kind of buy mousesports have, I wonder if this could be awkward for Virtus.Pro having 2 AWPs in this kind of situation. They can't really go for a fast play like they would normally do. Snax knows there can be no AWP for the side, so he's going to take that peek over towards main, towards Connector, sorry. And there we go, we have a push from mousesports, doesn't pay off towards Ivy. Some information for Virtus.Pro, but no kills just yet.
And Snax is trying to work this off, and so far he's not been availed much, but when he finally is, he will connect. Flawless stop there from Virtus.Pro, and it looks like the plow is in action now, as there's almost nobody left standing in just about 5 seconds there. 4 players are dead from mousesports, just Spitty left, and Virtus.Pro so close to moving on to match point, onto the big juicy 15. And the prospects for mousesports are very grim indeed, because they did force up in this round as they had to, and they're going to have to do the same in the next round. And there's just no money. There's just no money. The buy is just not going to be respectable in any sense for them. So they'll be playing with the jumble sale. The car boot sale buy.
Yeah, that's a pretty hardcore jumbo sell down. It's like they got there just as everything was closing. Half the cars have left. There's just like some old granny, you know, she's got a bit slightly Alzheimer's, mostly arthritis. She can't, you know, get the door closed fast enough. So grab what they can, Dan, and it's not going to be much. 2 Mag 7s and a Scout is all that they can glean from what remains of this terrible jumble sale. So tough times are ahead here for mousesports.
2 Mag 7s, yeah. That's something, all right.
The Alzheimer's wasn't necessary, but I meant to say arthritis. I just rolled with it, Dan, what came out of my mouth. 5-round lead here for Virtus.Pro. Taz moving quickly into the bomb site by Ali and Pasha over towards Ivy. Playing passive, we have seen pushes there from mousesports before. Dennis is going to get taken down. Does good damage, though, and maybe that AK can fall into the hands of his teammates should they survive, but the numbers are running down here for mousesports. Spitty and Nico remain there. 5-7 and a Mag 7 to try and hold things down here for the German side. Nico is alive, and that's a problem, but now he's been taken down. All down to Spitty. Last man standing, the very last man standing here. 2 flashes and a 5-7. All he has is a little bit of hope.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's going to be anything really here for Spitty. Just death. Death and despair. And doesn't even throw the flash there. I think he meant to. Pop flash comes in, and of course he gets knifed.
Oh,
nice
dear.
way to finish it off there from Snax, who of course was the MVP of this one for sure. 28 for 14, great performance from him, and overall great performance from Virtus.Pro, keeping themselves in the game despite going down 7-0 to mousesports on the first half. Apparently mousesports needed a better start than that.
Yeah, after that 7-0 lead, they took 3 more rounds, 2 of which were in the second half. So indeed, it was a very nice comeback from Virtus.Pro in the first half, set them up nicely for the second half, and then they just rolled with it and ran over mousesports. Very nicely done indeed. We will head to a break and then come back with a short interview.